Happy to be here. I like these football analogies. Sitting in Philadelphia, reference to Jalen Hurts. I'm an Eagles fan, so I'm with you.
Well, I think that's the question right now. So Steve kind of put it out there, Professor, since you're rolling with it. I'm from Philadelphia myself. So right now, Jay Powell, is he Carson Wentz or is he Jalen Hurts? For those people that aren't watching, can he lead this to this soft landing that everybody's talking about, or do you think he might fumble?
Well, first of all, I've been a big critic of him. He shouldn't have let the inflation, as we all know, get as bad as it did. But he got religion, so to speak, and he's moving. We do have 5 more weeks. And as you guys have mentioned, a lot of data. I mean, tomorrow we have PPI and we have another CPI, PPI, another employment report. We have 5 unemployment and compensation insurance reports. So there's a lot of data coming. I would go 50 and then 225s at this particular point to sort of complete market expectations. I also believe that, we've noted that Steve Leeson noted that shelter inflation is still there, but it is also backward looking the way the government calculates the CPI index. When we get actually on the ground in the housing market, selling prices are softening, not rising. Rental prices, although still rising, are not rising at the rate they once did. Now, that won't be reflected in the index for many months, and the Fed has to recognize that. So, 30% of the index is still going to be very firm. Outside of that level, forward-looking inflation, to me, looks good and looks like the Fed can be more moderate. I also look at the money supply. We've commented on how good that behavior has been this year.
So, Professor, you mentioned that Jay Powell just found religion. I'm going to go to some of your testimony from just a month ago. You said that the worst of inflation had passed, possibly based on today's CPI report. You also said the CPI is backwards looking, but you're leaning on it a bit right now. And you said that Jay Powell needs to be forward looking. So you mentioned what you would do when it comes to the hikes, but what do you want Jay Powell to do, or at least what do you expect him to do?
Well, that's exactly the point. I don't want him to look at the CPI, which is, for the last month in a lagged index and say, oh, my goodness, I see 0.4, I see 0.5, I want it to be 0.2, I got to keep on tightening. I think he has to realize that the way the index is constructed, there is a lot of inflation that's still, unfortunately, pushed through on that official index, but has already been experienced by Americans in the market. And that's what I want him to be, forward-looking in terms of what's going on those sensitive commodities, what's going on in the actual housing markets. Talk to those that are in it, and they will find there's less inflation than the official statistics are going to tell us over the next 3 to 6 months.